Think of a time you saw a poster or an ad and felt a strong emotion. Perhaps you were angry or maybe afraid. That feeling stuck with you, and perhaps you feel strongly, maybe voted in ways that aligned with the ad. Or maybe you shared the information to friends. But the issue is what you read was wrong or purposely exaggerated. So in the end, you were persuaded. Unfortunately, you may have been subjected to misinformation or disinformation. Not only that, but this piece of media may have been propaganda. From posters during the Cold War to fake news, propaganda and its range can be tricky to spot. At its core, propaganda is a masterful application of persuasion psychology. There is some debate on how propaganda is defined. But overall, from the sources I found, propaganda is information that provokes you, often by using false or distorted information to manipulate your emotions. The way of how it presents varies, and sometimes it can be tricky to spot. But before I show how propaganda might influence you through visual aesthetics, let's define misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation, in simple terms, is information you don't know is false. You may have been misled to believe something is wrong, or perhaps you were misinterpreting something that you saw, like a graphic or photo out of context. You then tell others about this information you just learned about and have now spread misinformation. Disinformation is when you knowingly distribute false or inaccurate information. It could be for supporting your bias or perhaps pushing a political view. Or perhaps you're just looking to troll. Misinformation and disinformation are both involved with propaganda in a way that you consume propaganda, therefore are misinformed. Also, that propaganda is usually distributed with exaggerated or false information, making it disinformation. Now that we loosely define those key words, aesthetically, how does propaganda get spread? Weirdly enough, the article by Adobe Express explained in a way that I found to be the best in simple terms. Quote, propaganda builds upon core ideals that can be already found in a populace. It assumes an opinion and enforces it as a fact, usually with bold colors, graphic typefaces, and strong basic claims that can be understood and absorbed by a large majority. End quote. The influence within each of these categories stems from their ability to connect with emotions rather than relying on logic or reason. Each emotion possesses a strategic advantage for swaying an individual's opinion, and these emotions can be exploited through a single propaganda style or combination of multiple styles working in harmony. Propaganda can be beautiful, funny, or fun and entertaining to consume, perhaps even breathtaking or shocking when presented in the right way. And because art traditionally has been used to evoke emotions, visual media can be a very useful tool. How does this relate to my psychology? Well, psychologically, the aesthetics of visual media almost give more of a gateway to heightened emotion because of the emotional nature of art. But of course, I'm not implying that PragerU Kids videos or this meme by the Daily Wire is a work of art in a way that we would traditionally define. However, it is still a visual media piece that we consumed, and because it's animation or something that is created, could fall under that category. Overall, the psychological effects can impact your emotions or needs. Things like anger, fear, or pride might be heightened. Or you feel like you truly belong to a community and have found your people. Propaganda and the mis or dis of information can have adverse effects. Socially, that group that you belong to could be isolating you and influencing you, especially if that influence might persuade you to vote for things that might hurt your livelihood or those around you. That isolation can also impact your interpersonal relationships with friends and family members, which then in turn can impact your mental health because of the said isolation. Not always in that order, however, but this is just one example of how propaganda has adverse side effects. Understanding the psychological underpinnings of propaganda and its complicated relationship to media allows us to comprehend its impact. The medium through which propaganda is distributed plays a crucial role in its impact. In a world full of information and misinformation, developing media literacy skills and critical thinking skills is paramount. By actively engaging with diverse sources, fact-checking information, we empower ourselves to resist the persuasive pull of propaganda. If you are interested in an additional source, check out the game Bad News. This can help you spot more obvious and less obvious ways your social media might expose you to disinformation and propaganda. Thank you for watching, and I hope you feel more informed.